we get to see the number 1 seed InVictus and the number 6 seed Repo Men.
Correct. Although I think the Repo Men was actually the 5th seed overall. Our numbers are a little off.
What's going on here?
But nonetheless, this one's going to be a good one, and these teams are both pretty strong. InVictus has a better track record versus the Repo team, but has been beaten by this squad, so it could go either way.
I mean, we'll have to see. It's going to come down to, who can change up their styles, who can make sure that puck goes nowhere near their net, no matter what. Any chance that you can take it, and don't look back.
I think both sides probably want to come out with that mentality.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Not sure which InVictus lineup they're going to bring to the table, but I do know that the GTO Repo Men traditionally is pretty high-paced, pretty aggressive. So it's really going to come down to who can maintain that aggressive sort of mentality, but not give away those counterattack goal opportunities. Both teams have amazing offensive potential. So I'm just excited for this one.
Yeah, we'll have to see exactly who all shows up today, or for this series, I should say. And there's going to need to be some team synergy, too. Good communication is so paramount for any mode in Rocket League. But when you're coming up against an experienced team like either of these teams, you're going to have to start communicating with each other. You're going to tell each other where you're at and get some passes out. I mean, yeah, it's a little bit harder to be accurate with a puck unless you really know what you're doing and you get the good angle on it. So look for your teammates, listen to your teammates, and make sure you're in the right spot at the right time. Basically, the same basics as soccer.
Absolutely. I mean, just in this mode, just like soccer, rotations, knowing where your teammates are, all of that stuff comes into play. And again, with as fast as perhaps pinches can cause the pace of play to change or almost flip itself end to end, communication becomes paramount. Meldabell now trying to put up some early pressure, trying to get a bump on Otter there, but Darkness is the one to get a body and force the cross. Work its way back out to center ice. A nice bump by Skyful, and this is going to be the first on the board. Shy 28 seconds in. Nice little flip by Skyful to himself over that last defender.
Just a straight juke. There really isn't much to analyze there. I mean, it was a straight up juke. It saw the defender, and the puck was standing up too. So there's that. A little bit easier to deal with when you're trying to flip it around like that. And another one sneaks through. Skyful with the accuracy.
This was just, I think, a wrong decision as Meldabell took it off the wall back towards his own teammates. But again, bringing it back closer to his goal. Skyful just kind of waiting there in the center. Just had to kind of wait to see what took place, and pretty easy shot for him. They find themselves up too.
Seems like the Repo Men trying to shake the cobwebs out a little bit as 2 quick goals kind of rocked the world. Finally, some pressure from InVictus. I mean, not InVictus, Repo Men. Finally, a little bit of pressure from them, but it's right back in their faces. Man, this has got to be a little bit frustrating.
Darkness trying to bait somebody into thinking he was going to go wall. Turns it back, gets it passed down to the other end. Otter now, though, able to advance it past 2. This one's going to fall down deep. A nice demo by Darkness on Nyx keeps her from being able to make a play on the puck, and because she would have absolutely scored. Darkness trying to work it in from the right. Nyx for that next touch. Trying to work it past Thrash, not able to quite get it. This one's gonna find Otter in the center though.
Oh, Thrash!
Oh, so close. Clutch save by Thrash coming across.
And it was ended up being a great pass to Darkness too, who sent it to the other side. We're starting to see Repo Man come alive here with a fantastic play on the defensive end. Let's see if they can turn it into some offense.
Trying to work it up that right-hand side. Mel.
Good pass.
Shot off the right wall. This pops off of Thrash's car a little bit funky. Trying to get it up over Nyx. Not able to go that time. Gets poked out wide. Darkness looking for Mel. Advance skips up over. This is dangerous. It's close, and they are able to get themselves on the board.
I really don't think Thrash has a long enough name.
No, I don't either.
At all. But I mean, this just turned into a little bit of a cluster in front of that blue crease. Everybody attacking the puck, trying to make sure that thing goes in. They do not, you can tell, Repo Men do not want to be 2 goals down here once halftime hits, and they're only 5 seconds off of that. So, a little bit of urgency definitely being shown by Repo Men, which is good to see, but they need to make sure they stay organized.
Absolutely. They don't want to set themselves up for a counterattack and then give that goal or that lead that they just whittled down away again. So I'm going to come high up the right. Skyful with a nice touch. Mel trying to reverse it, but is met by Nyx. This forces Dark to expend some boost that he already wanted to keep to go up on the defensive end. Mel drops one down, looks for Thrash, who collects it, trying to bring it back, do a little bit of a juke. Nice stop by Nyx.
Yeah, got a little bit too far behind that puck and moving a little bit too quick for a decent juke. Nyx read it perfectly, just planted herself right exactly where she needed to be.
Winds up in the corner, Otter trying to get it out. Thrash. Pinch off a Skyful, worked its way down to the other end. Skyful now trying to bring it in from the left. Goes to Otter's nose. Otters gets it up over 1, over 2.
Oh!
No, too fast. Got in back a little too quickly and over flipped just kind of farther than he needed to and couldn't stop.
So, for some reason, Darkness ended up going all the way across the map looking for boost.
That can happen.
I mean,
If
it
a
can
team
happen,
is,
yeah, but
is doing what they need to try and starve you. But yeah,
the middle boost was there, so I don't know if he was just kind of in a bit of a panic mode, trying to make sure he was up for a pass at the same time. It's hard to tell exactly, but there was no way a clear was going to come out, and obviously it was not communicated properly.
Mel with a little bit of a bad decision on that. Got a little bit lucky there that Ivy didn't take advantage of how far he had come out, but Ivy is going to put another one up this time around as Skyful from center ice. Mel, last kind of person back, like in a position to stop that one.
Yeah.
Not quite the angle he was hoping for.
Yeah, and Mel puck chasing a little bit, if you will. Found himself in a really awkward spot, went for the puck instead of going back to position where he probably should have been in the first place. But not seeing a lot of patience from Mel, and I think the tilt factor might be working in a little bit. And
well, Mel is known to be an extremely fast player and extremely aggressive. So he may be a little bit too much so at this point in time, but that is absolutely his mentality as a player.
I don't know if that's the way to get through InVictus, to be honest with you.
It certainly doesn't seem to be currently. As OttrCtrl takes one on the left-hand side, and that's going to do it for time in this first one as InVictus pulls out to the 1-0 lead in the series early. Repo Men are going to have to kind of figure out and ask themselves what needs to change to make sure and stop some of those goals from being scored. I think it's essentially just pretty much overcommitments. I think they don't have the patience that they need in order to do what they want at this point.
Technically, I mean, yeah, you're right. Overcommitments are technically just kind of not a good thing to do anyways, but when you got a guy moving up for a pass, but the guy who's trying to do the passing, the goalie, whoever, is fully covered by the other team, the guy going up for the pass needs to come back and rotate back in for defense, because the only time that you should be going up for a pass is when it's in a 1v1 situation or a guaranteed clear. That's it. It's the only time. And in snow day, that's a little bit harder to do, the guaranteed clear, I mean, because you have to hit the puck at a certain way in order to get it away from whoever is attacking you. In soccer, yeah, of course, you just throw it away from whoever, but that can usually go upfield too. And when with the puck's outer circumference so much bigger than a ball, you have to really think about it, and it may take 2 or 3 touches to get that thing cleared out.
That's true. That's true. And if it's spinning or if it goes funky on you, even your touch might end up making things worse. It's just so up in the air in certain instances that, yeah, we'll just have to see.
We'll have to see indeed. I mean, I do want to see Repo men regroup a little bit. And they subbed in Vaughn and took out Mel. So maybe a little bit of patience is out on the ice now.
That might be a slightly better mixture for success. We'll just have to see. But
wow.
Not so much to his credit. Darkness is getting them on the board early as he just kind of puts one up and in. And Skyful's missed touch.
Yeah, Skyful tried to follow that one through and just ended up on the post, or well, I guess it was the crossbar technically, and just didn't work out that time. You know, you got to put those behind you. InVictus definitely has the skill to, well, let's face it, take on this Repo Men team. This is going to be a really nervous one for Repo Men as they have subbed in Vaughn. So who knows? That's the variable right now is Vaughn.
But we'll have to see whether or not he's a calming presence. A nice choice there to try and pop one up over Skyful, but a good read by Skyful to keep that from matriculating into anything too serious. Nyx now. Nice stop down at her end. Thrash is going to go up for it. Pop this one over to the side. But this one's going to get advanced by Nyx. That's a little bit of a dangerous, I guess, challenge by Vaughn there, who is automatically already working his way back.
Yes.
But if he had missed that, he would have definitely left his squad in a pretty dire straits, as they would only had one final one. And Skyful didn't have to do much, finding this one kind of right down nice and in a great spot after OttrCtrl's block.
Yeah, and OttrCtrl actually just went for the shot. It was a little bit of a panic because just the positioning and the speed of the puck coming at him. And so when it hit the crossbar or the corner, technically, just died straight up. And all he had to do was just kind of put it in. But you know what? That comes down to positioning. You know, that there is a school of thought that being up close and personal with the puck like that in certain situations is a good thing. Right there is one of those evidences.
Absolutely. Vaughn now trying to muscle his way past center ice. This one's going to get popped out to the right. Nyx taking her time. I don't know if she had boost or if she's just trying to draw the defensive out, but this is has resulted in a bit of a 2-on-2, which can certainly be advantageous as there's less defense to have to work through in order to score. But now Thrash coming from the right-hand side, looking for Darkness. This one gets put off right. Good save by Skyful. Vaughn, though.
Oh my God.
Is there going to be no? Thrash went up, jumped too early, and didn't have the boost to do it, and this might go back the other way. OttrCtrl.
Oh
no,
my God.
He couldn't get it to go.
So many fast plays coming out, and a couple of those plays were just rushed. That was the only reason why they didn't work out. You have to make sure that you're accurate. There's always a reason to let off the gas, too. You don't necessarily have to be completely boosted and supersonic to make a play. As long as it goes in the net, who cares?
Thrash now trying to advance it up the right-hand side. He gets poked behind him, stalling things out. A nice clear, I think, by Otter. As he had a couple touches and a decent opportunity at the other end. gets popped out. Vaughn, nice advance, but Otter kind of takes that one from him out of the air. Working it in from the left. Darkness credited with a save, but both he and Vaughn absolutely having to rush up into the air for that one. Skyful now. Putting one long off the back. This one is going to find its way across. Darkness gets a little bit on it, pushing it into IV zone. Vaughn and Thrash now attempting to work it in from the right.
Oh wow, they're all over each other. Darkness was right underneath Vaughn, but Vaughn was the one that went up for it. Darkness probably had a better shot there. Not quite sure what Repo Man's going on here. I know they're probably a little bit antsy, but Darkness and Vaughn are just all over each other. Have you seen this before? Maybe they're trying to do a little bit of fake action?
I'm gonna guess that that's not the case. I'm gonna guess that it was just a lack of communication, or just trying to overcome or overtake somebody if they had a decent feeling that they could do something.
Oh God!
Demos later though.
Another, I've seen actually some players who, two that play together quite a bit, will do moves like that to try to confuse their opponents, and a lot of times it works well because you don't really expect it. A lot of people think that it's a mistake, but then suddenly you have a shot come through and it's a straight in because nobody expected it on the other side. So
absolutely,
it could have been. It's a viable strategy and probably a little bit tougher to execute with a puck. But Vaughn knocks this down. Uh-oh, this is dangerous.
This one is still up for the moment, although this could be going the other way. Is anybody having a boost to get there? Vaughn does get some paint on it, but not enough to do much, and we're into overtime.
And InVictus trying to take game 2, take a solid lead in the series. This is, of course, a best of 5, like we mentioned earlier. They want to go into match point and make it nice and clean against the Repo Men, but Repo Men definitely have something to say about it. They have cleaned up their act quite a bit, and either trying different strategies or just through fast communication, it's not quite coming through to a couple of the players. But either way, they managed to hold on and keep this one tied at 1.
Thrash pulling it off of his own back wall, trying to advance it past Otter. Otter had a good closing speed though, almost squeaking it by there. Was the Repo Men. Thrash now taking it off the wall past Nyxesn. Skyful though keeping it low with that challenge, and this one's going to result in dangerous. There is a right time and a wrong time to challenge, and that was some shiftiness by Darkness as that one gets flipped out there.
You can just see the InVictus squad just throwing the squints at Darkness, like, what are you doing? That ain't right. But yeah, no, he found himself in a great spot and manages to throw it away from his net to keep this one going. But again, Vaughn kind of all over his teammates, and a shot nearly coming through though.
Repo Man looking a little bit flaily right now, and Skyful is going to take advantage of that miss and turn one in as they find themselves up 2 now.
Flaily is a good word, because it did seem like Repo Men could not get organized at all towards the end, even into overtime. There were a couple of double commits. There were a couple of places where players shouldn't have been, and there were uncovered spots on the defensive end that really should have been covered easily. But InVictus, puck's in front of your net, in front of the opposing net, you take it.
Yep, they were capitalizing on the opportunities presented themselves. They had a lot of advances that they popped up high, which forced Repo Men to have to make stops and clears right in front of their own goal. And there's only so much of that you can take as a team before you eventually let one in. So commanding start by InVictus is, and Repo Men are going to have to turn things around if they want any chance or any hopes of making their way into the finals for the big money.
Big money, big money, big money, big money. Wait, this isn't Wheel of... is that Wheel of Fortune? Yeah, that's Wheel of Fortune.
All right, the resulting face-off. Oh, thankfully, you don't have the years that I've got. Nyx.
Sure.
Yep, pretty sure.
We'll talk about it later.
Skyful, Thrash trying to sneak one past Nyx. Not going to go. Darkness bringing Bun back into the center from the left. Otter the only one over there, though. Vaughn, though. Nice shot by Darkness from the center. Again, absolutely what they needed to get on the board early, but there's still plenty of time left.
Yeah, it looks like... Yeah, Darkness just caught the edge of the puck, and Dominus. You mentioned that before, the Dominus, and now I understand why it's so popular. You can make crazy shots like that very easily.
Nyx now. This one gets poked center. Thrash, good cover, trying to get it past two. This gets popped out wide. Skyful's got boost. Rather than taking it down the wall, he elects to bring it back center. Although this could set things up for Otter. No, Thrash uses boost to stop that advance. Got their corner boost. Not able to get enough on it to keep it away from Skyful though. Thrash, good read. Stops it in a bit in the center, going up for it. Forces them, they're going to come back down. Vaughn now, poking it into the center again. Waiting, trying to see what Otter does. This is nice and high. Thrash now coming up with a decent strike, looking for that right-hand side. It was close. Skyful, clutch save for his guys. Darkness trying to keep up the pressure. Otter doing what he can to forcibly push that thing back out to center ice.
And InVictus are just having a hard time getting the puck out of their side. They finally do here after about 2 minutes of play on their side. Once they do this, they need to start striking quick, because with the Repo Men already having one on them, and they're just not having a lot of chances. It seems like they're kind of slow to the ball right now, whereas Repo Men are absolutely on fire. Now, InVictus have the two-game lead in the series, and you would think that they would want to make sure, secure that lead early, but they just haven't done it.
About halfway through the match now. Otter trying to take things in from the left-hand side, finds Nyx, who does advance things, but Darkness is going to look for Thrash now, going the other direction. Thrash not able to get off the wall and recover after having looked for boost momentarily. Nyx now, same side of the thing, does find Skyful. This goes to Darkness's nose, and we're back off in the other direction. Oh, a little bit of a miss there. Finds its way to the center, but no one there for Repo Men to really put on too much pressure. Bond credited with a shot, although he was just trying to get it center. Darkness now with a follow, but nobody there for Repo Men, as the other two were forced to take a wider arc and go for boost. Thrash now, trying to figure out. Darkness puts it up, it's dangerous, it's in front, and Vaughn puts one in for the second.
Vaughn just kind of hanging out here midfield, realizing that a shot might come through. It looks like he got called off by Darkness, but then just realizing everybody's flailing, nobody's on the ground even trying to get to this puck, so you gotta slam her home. 2-0 here for Repo Men, and InVictus are the ones in the series lead. Repo Men look like a completely different team right now.
Darkness trying to put the one over the last defense. Skyful with a nice stop. Vaughn with a couple of touches in the air. He was doing everything he could to keep himself in front of it. Uh-oh, this is dangerous as Vaughn sets Nyx up. This was down, and Nyx capitalizes on it as she stuffs Darkness after the save.
Absolutely savage.
Good touch. You cannot set a team up by putting a pass to them in the center. That was the worst touch Vaughn could have made in that instance.
Yep. Yeah, no, you're dead on. Not only that, Nyx got the huge bump up, and it sent the puck to just on a tilt-a-whirl. It was so hard to read, and you had to hit that puck exactly dead on, or else it was not going to be saved. Perfect shot, well executed by the whole team of InVictus, really. Now let's see if they can do this in the last minute. They have to get some offense moving right now to try to get the Repo men out of their zone and away from the net.
That's a good start. This one's close. Oh my goodness. Oh,
there it is.
And they do get it, as Thrash did everything he could, but Skyful comes in for the last and the exclamation on top.
Straight up. It's pretty obvious right there. You know, Otter and Nyx were all over that puck just to make sure that it stayed in the right zone, and bam, get her done. InVictus could potentially take the lead here because Repo men, they're starting to fall apart, especially now that InVictus has kind of figured him out. This is game 3, and InVictus only need the one more, and that's it.
GTO Repo having a hard time even getting out of their own corner at this moment, as this is now center looking for Otter. Tries to drop it down, still up. Nyx putting continued pressure on. Skyful now around. Vaughn is going to go to the center, but Otter where he needs to, dropping it down for Skyful again. No go. Still chances, but this is going to still be on the ground, and we've got overtime.
Yeah, InVictus did not want this. They had so much pressure on the Repo men's side that now that it's been released, everything's been reset. They're going to have to move quickly. I'm talking about InVictus need to move super quick because shots like that from Vaughn can come through at any time.
And Thrash now is able to get one coming from the corner. That's what they needed to keep themselves in this. We're not going to get 3-0, they say, but it was a close one. Thrash barely just getting up higher than Nyx and squeezing that one in. Repo men still down one in this series, but keeping themselves alive.
Yeah, and InVictus, they can shake this off. They had a little bit of a bad game, let's face it. They couldn't get any clears out, no real meaningful touches, I should say. Kind of all game. Even when they went to attack, it took all three of them to kind of put in a simple goal. You'd think that they'd do a little bit better than that, especially on that the second goal. But InVictus, maybe this is their one bad game this series. Got it out of their system. Then they're gonna be like, "No, we lost. Dang it!" And they're gonna go for it now.
It's certainly possible. I mean, these games are so momentum based that we'll just have to see. Like they certainly think that InVictus is looking strong. They're looking stronger out of the two teams, at least as I'm comparing them and what we're seeing in this series. But I think ultimately it is going to come down to who can continue to keep their communications and things tight. Absolutely, Repo men have had more of the mistakes in this series, and IV should and does have the lead because of it. Nyx now coming around the left-hand side, met by Darkness, gets a second touch, but Skyful again right there, perfect positioning, and puts the puck up in a place where it can be dangerous. Thrash, though, coming from the other end, misses his first opportunity, but Darkness, where he needed to be to save that effort from being lost. But if you're a Repo man, this is exactly what you wanted.
Definitely. You mentioned the momentum thing earlier. That is exactly what's happening here. Repo men trying to gather up their momentum and keep this InVictus team down. Now, InVictus, we've seen it before. They can do it again. They need to come back, but they need to execute on these plays. They have to be sure. Keep control of the puck. Don't just give it back to Repo men like in that play right there.
Vaughn now looking for a Thrash, but Darkness with a pinch. He is not known for his pinches, but let's give him some credit, folks.
Vaughn actually called off Darkness on that, so Darkness wisely goes back because Thrash was all the way up trying to take a shot or kind of just get in the way. Now, there was no way to predict that ball was going to go the way it did, especially when he said Darkness doesn't usually pinch.
Yeah, being a ball player, he doesn't have some of the innate pinch abilities that a strictly Snow Day folk have, but he's learning. Vaughn now both teams just kind of trading. Although that is dangerous, Skyful is going to be able to make an advance, push it forward. Thrash is going to be the first out there, but waited again to let OttrCtrl have enough, and again, dangerous. Darkness barely able to get up to put enough on that.
Vaughn just popped up kind of out of nowhere and just put enough of bumper, onto that puck to bop it away and make sure that InVictus couldn't score that shot. Now that said, InVictus are starting to get pretty creative with their shots. It's time to get some pass plays going. A lot of solo play, and it's not working.
Not only that, but they had Repo men kind of boxed down in their zone long enough to where they were probably starting to suffer from the amount of boost that they had in reserves. But a little bit of a reprieve now as they were able to push things back and have since fine. But this one's dangerous. Ooh, saved by Darkness, as that one was really dangerous coming in from the right.
That was kind of weird pinch too. It looked like it pinched up the wall and then just stopped. Kind of an odd play, but it worked out for him in the end. Repo men have the 2-goal lead for now. And InVictus have not really been able to respond so much, and as I mentioned before, not any pass plays, very much just playing the long puck instead of changing things up, and they're going to have to change it up. Well, now, and I feel like I'm repeating myself again, but they still haven't done it.
We're halfway through this fourth. Thrash now trying to take a strike from long range off that right wall. Well played and covered by both Skyful and Nyx on retreat. This one's going to drop down to Thrash again, who meets Nyx and forces his way past one, trying to get past Otter. Does able to do so, looking for Darkness. Shot is put up. Good positioning by Nyx. Thrash now advancing. A little bit of a funky bounce on that. Wasn't able to get the shot he was hoping for. Otter met by Vaughn. Skyful going to be the first up to it, and this one is going to drop down pretty close to center. Next, such an opportunity.
Man.
But back off in the other direction. Darkness now trying to tip it up. Is able to get it over one. Thrash is going to be there, looking to get it past. Does get it past Skyful, but Otter there with a clear. Darkness now. Trying another touch. This one's going to get popped out a little bit wide, but it's coming back. Vaughn is going to be the first there, and they're up by 3. With a minute and 10 left.
I'm calling that dagger, even though a minute and 10 left on the clock. It's just that InVictus, they're completely out of sorts. It's almost like they need to have their backs against the wall in order to start performing the way they need to perform. Or either that or they're just stuck in a rut, and Repo men sensed it. They've changed up their style. They're trying passing plays. They're doing everything they can to shake up this InVictus squad, and it's working.
Yep, the intensity and pressure that they're putting on is finding, and a couple of the touches that they've gotten as well. All it takes sometimes is just getting it past that one person, because it buys you time to set things up, and there have been a couple of instances of that in this game specifically. A nice long strike by Skyful, though, trying to catch an instance where somebody might not be back in a good position, but this one's dangerous. Going back the other way. Does Thrash have the boost? He does.
Just unfortunate right here. Yeah, that was Otter.
Gotta love Thrash showing that team spirit. Thrash's name is currently the names of all members of our team.
I was trying to figure out exactly what it said. I don't know. Like, even with my glasses on, I was having a hard time reading it.
It's Vaughn, Dark, Thrash, Trash, Melgin. I think that's what it is, because Thrash's nickname is Trash.
Oh, that makes sense. Yeah.
Self-proclaimed.
Tongue-in-cheek humor. I like it.
This one's going to get popped off. One final attempt as time expires, but Vaughn is going to get a clear, and we're airborne for the second, but finally we touch. Repo men tie up the series 2-2. Darkness picking up another MVP with 5 shots and 2 goals falling for him.
Yeah, not a bad day at the office for the Repo men.
But
But InVictus, I mean, we saw them dominate pretty good in the first 2 games, and just the Repo Man, like out of nowhere, they just, you know what, we got it, let's do it.
I
And
think Repo
they've been
Men
doing it.
have to feel comfortable, and they kind of almost have to feel motivated, and perhaps they're the team that really kind of has to have a fire under their butts in order to perform. But now it's do or die for both. So who's going to rise to the occasion?
That is the question, and at this point, the way that InVictus is playing, I have to go with Repo Men, because let's face it, InVictus are either tired, tilted, or just over it. I can't tell.
Thrash now trying to put one in, looking for darkness. Nyx strategically got in the way of that one, but Repo Men are trying to keep that pressure up as things are currently stalled in the corner, but a nice advance by Skyful. And release back out to center ice. Infield passing plays coming out for InVictus. Nobody there currently for the GTO Repo squad. Nyx now with a nice move. Only one to beat. Nobody back. This is dangerous. Otter up. Darkness goes up to get in its way, and he and Thrash are able to get just enough. Thrash credited with a save on that one.
Oh my God, Demo.
Oh, Thrash, can he put it in? Oh, it was so close. On,
Still pressure.
The possession at least, but kind of gave that one to Skyful. Skyful now.
Ooh.
Put it up over 2. Thrash did everything he could, but it wasn't enough, as a great read by Otter puts one into the right-hand side.
Yeah, Thrash like got popped up by the puck itself. He recovered nicely, but when he popped down to knock the puck away, it just went straight into Otter. And that's enough. Again, that positioning, InVictus being super aggressive in the crease, works out for him. Still plenty of time, though. Anything can happen here in Game 5.
A little bit of self-touch. Darkness putting it up. Otter's able to push this one out wide. Another touch by Skyful, but good covers by both teams. Thrash, I don't know if I would have gone up for that one in the air like he did, knowing that he was going to have to pretty much give the other team time to catch and get to his position, but Skyfall now electing to keep things in the center. Darkness putting it over 1. Oh, Thrash found in the center. Not going this time around. Nyx, decent clear. Thrash trying to get it past. Shot from Darkness. Skyfall is going to get enough on it.
Tons of pressure coming out here from the Repo Men that at some point they will get a shot towards the net. But Vaughn coming in with just a wild and wacky angle. And let's face it, InVictus has been really patient on their side, but now they have an open net.
Oh, I thought that was going out for a second, but Thrash does get enough on it, and it finds its way across the plane.
Yeah, Thrash barely. I mean, he just delayed the touch enough to knock it down and off the crossbar, and luckily with the angle that it hit, it didn't need to go in all the way, that's for sure, because, well, let's face it, the plane of existence for the puck is different than the plane of existence for the ball. Now Vaughn, off the wall, makes it happen.
Did Thrash bump out a defender there?
Oh, no.
Okay,
Yeah, so Nyx saw the aerial play go up. Now, Thrash was coming forward just in case, but Nyx went up to try to block it and just didn't have the boost or the timing to make that happen. And even if Nyx was able to get there, I don't think that would have blocked out. It's just too much of a chance when you're going aerial with a puck.
Darkness and Otter up. This one gets slammed back down into the corner. Repo need to watch out after a demo. It's a 3-on-2 situation, and now a bump from Otter on Darkness. Thrash would have probably liked to collect that a little bit better, but it ends up not being too much of an issue. But OttrCtrl, again, with some good control in the air. Relatively easily advancing it downfield.
Yeah, kind of
This
like
was going to fall right. Oof, dangerous for them to go up for that one where it was. Good touch by Ron.
have kind of, I mean, they didn't give up, but they've kind of let InVictus do their thing, and now they're all messed up at the corner. Vaughn with the barely save. Otter off the crossbar, so close for the tie. InVictus can't quite finish it off. Now they try again. Nyx up and in.
You got to get that cleared out. And if they can't do that, this is what happens. Everything just gets put back to the center. No boosts. Sure enough, tie ball game or puck game.
And they had boost in the corners too. Like, Repo Men definitely had a chance to get it done, but they just got a little bit too antsy in the net. Sometimes you have to let the puck come to you to make the proper save. There is a strategy when it comes to saving pucks or balls or anything in Rocket League.
Vaughn now trying to beat. This one's going to work its way back into center. Thrashes up. Tries to look for that upper left-hand corner, but this one's going to pop back out, and they're going to have to reset. Otter now trying to get it clear. This one's going to fall to Darkness, who takes one off the back wall. Is Thrash going to be there? No, it's just wide. OttrCtrl with a bit of a fast break, but Vaughn intercepts that. This one's dropped back in the center. Otter is going to get up. That could have been a goal, but it sends up just left. 50 seconds. Coming down to the wire here. This one's, so prettily played by Ivy throughout the defense. There's a bad stop by Vaughn, gave possession right back to Nyx, and a miss by Darkness along that back wall sets up a goal. And 40 seconds is all that's left for Repo Men, who has to now find one.
And again, the positioning by the Repo Men when they're going back on defense, they had two players in the same corner on the same side of the puck. Cannot do that. You have to have somebody on the opposite side who is able to come in at a fast pace to clear the puck out as well as save it. That should have been easily saved, or at least the play disrupted, but it wasn't because of the defensive positioning. Now they have to climb out here in 10 seconds.
A pinch sends one far, but this goes right to the nose of OttrCtrl. It's going up. It is enter. Skyful is going to push that one into the corner. Vaughn puts it up around, but Nyx has got the clear that she needs, and InVictus is going to squeak by and make their way to the finals. GG's all. Well played to both squads. Repo Man actually took the shot advantage in that one. Ever so slightly, but wasn't enough, as OttrCtrl takes the MVP of this final one, scoring 2 of his